Hey guys, how you going? Zeke here, and in today's video, we're going to get slow motion on the Canon EOS M RAW, and I'm going to share the settings that I use to get the best results out of this camera. Now, just to clear things off, this thing shoots 50 frames per second max. If you think you can shoot 60 frames per second in this camera, then you are wrong.
Wrong, sir. Wrong.
So in these sample clips over here, I've shot at 48 frames per second, and then I've used FPS override to get 50 frames per second. And as you can see, I used the 2.35:1 aspect ratio to get a cinematic look. I used a Pentax 28mm f2.8 with a speed booster, and it just creates a really nice looking image. It's a vintage lens, so you know you got vintage character going, vintage color, and overall it's a pleasing look. Now, a few tips when shooting slow motion is that you want to have a story or a reason why you're shooting slow motion. So it's not something I'd use always, but when the key moments come in, I'll definitely trigger slow motion to get cinematic looking footage. So you know, when you have moments when you're cooking and someone's chopping up vegetables, you want to get that slow motion with a gimbal or something like that, or when a bird's flapping its wings, or when people are walking on the street. Stuff like that. That's the reason why I would want to use slow motion. Now in this mode, you'd pretty much want to avoid shooting landscapes because there's a lot of aliasing. So recording people or portraiture or subjects that you're isolating with a shallow depth of field, then this mode works absolutely fantastic. So let's go ahead and take a look at the settings that I use to get slow motion on the Canon EOS M. Alright guys, so here I have the Canon EOS M. You can double check what mode you're in. So I'm in MV 1080p 48 FPS. And over here it confirms that I'm around 48 frames per second. And then I'll just hold the trash can. And then if I go back here, it shows that my shutter speed is 1/100th of a second. So this is really good because you want to double your frame rate. So if I'm getting 48, double that to 96. But I can't get 96 exact. So 100 shutter speed is the best I can get. Now if I go down to the movie tab, I've selected 2.35:1 aspect ratio. This is what I prefer for slow motion. You get these three options. If you take it off, then you can obviously go higher. But I found that there are lots of corruptions in this mode, and you're not getting exact 2.35:1. So there's exactly no point of doing that. So I keep it at 2.35. If you're going to shoot 16:9, you're not going to get enough resolution. I mean, that's pretty low, but you are going to get continuous. So I just set mine to 2.35. You get the black bars, it looks cinematic, and that's exactly what I prefer. So make that max. And I found this mode, I get no flickering at all. There's no pink or dropped frames. It just works absolutely perfectly. And then that's pretty much it. So if I go down here, I've taken off sound recording. If you disable sound recording, it's less strain on the camera and you get more recording time. So 2.35:1 at this resolution. And then we'll just press menu. And then you just double check your settings. So yep, ISO 100, 1/100th of a second, and then 48 frames per second. So there you go, click record. All right, and there you go, it shows you how much seconds you're getting. So ideally I don't want more than 5 seconds, but here I'm getting really good record limits. So, all right, so I got around 20 seconds. This is all I need for slow motion. I don't want more. And these are pretty much the settings that I use. So if I go back and click play, we can see if we have any dropped frames. Now, if you press play, you want all. So it shows you frame by frame. And as you can see, I'm not getting any dropped frames. No pink corrupted frames are coming up. It's going frame by frame. Or you can press all and then you'll just skip through. But if you press exact, you can see each individual frame, whether or not they're being corrupted. And as you can see, there's no frames being corrupted as I go through each frame. So this is absolutely perfect. Go ahead and stop that. So that's 48 frames per second, works absolutely perfect. And then you go down here to FPS override, click set, and I have done exact FPS to 50 frames per second from 48 frames per second. So actual FPS, we're getting 50 frames per second. So let's half shutter that. And it'll take us back to the menu, and then we'll just click record. Alright, so this is 50 frames per second raw video. Absolutely amazing stuff. Before we got 20 seconds, let's see how much seconds we can get with 50 frames per second. Alright, so about 12 or so. So that's still very good. Let's click play and see if we get any corrupted frames. My guess is that you are going to get corrupted frames, but let's take a look. Yeah, got one. And we'll just see if there's any more. Alright, so if you're going to shoot 50 frames per second, you usually get a corrupted frame at the start of your video, so that's about it. So I've gone through 170 frames and I've only got one corrupted frame, so that's really, really good for 50 frames per second. So, okay, so get out of this. And so these are pretty much my settings, guys. Ratio 2.35 to 1 at this resolution. And you want to make sure you set this 2.35 to 1 as well. And then exit out of that. I've tried enabling bit depth to 10, but you get corrupted frames with that. So I tend to leave bit depth off for high FPS modes. So that's it, guys. This is how I achieve my slow motion look. You can either select 50 frames per second or just take it off and you get 48 frames per second. It's completely up to you. These settings work absolutely perfect for me. And that's pretty much it. So as always, guys, thanks for watching. Hopefully you got something out of this video. Now it's your turn to go out in the field and start shooting some slow motion RAW. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye for now.